Hey everybody, welcome to the classroom today. Again, we have 4 more parts left of our book, The One and Only Ivan. So let's get started. A new box. Something strange is happening. The white-coated woman is back, this time with other humans. They place a large box in the center of the ring. It's ruby-sized. And suddenly, I know why the woman is here. She's here to take Ruby away. Training. The woman leads Ruby to the box. She places an apple inside. Good girl, Ruby, she says kindly. Don't be afraid. Ruby inspects the box with her trunk. The woman makes a clicking sound with the little piece of metal that she's holding in her hands. She gives Ruby a piece of carrot. Each time Ruby touches the box, she gets a click and a treat. Why is she making that clicking noise? I ask Bob. They do it to dogs all the time, Bob says. I can tell he doesn't approve. It's called clicker training. They want Ruby to associate the noise with the treat. When she does something they want, they'll make that noise. Great job, Ruby, the woman says. You're a quick study. After many clicks and carrots, she takes Ruby back to her cage. Why is that lady giving me carrots when I touch the box? Ruby asks me. I think she wants you to go inside, I explain. But there's nothing inside, Ruby says, except an apple. Inside that box, I say, is the way out. Ruby tilts her head. I don't get it. See the picture of the red giraffe on the box? I think the lady's from the zoo, Ruby. I think she's getting ready to take you there. I wait for Ruby to trumpet with joy. But instead she just stares at the box in silence. I'm not sure you understand. The box might be taking you to a place where there's other elephants, I said. A place where there's more room and humans can care about you. But even as I say those words, I remember with a shudder the last box I was in. I don't want a zoo, Ruby says. I want you and Bob and Julia. This is my home. No, Ruby, I said. This is your prison. It's interesting he calls it a prison after it was his domain where he loved to be for 27 years. Now he sees it as a prison. Poking and prodding. The lady comes again. She brings an animal doctor with an awful smell and a dangerous-looking bag. He spends an hour with Ruby, poking and prodding. He looks at her eyes, her feet, her trunk. When he's done with Ruby, he enters my cage. I wish I could hide under a knot tag like Bob. Instead, I do a nice, loud chest beat, and after a moment, the doctor retreats. We're going to need to put this one under, he says. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I strut around my cage feeling victorious anyway. No painting. No one asked me to paint today. No one asked Ruby to perform. There's no shows, no visitors, unless you count the protesters. Max stays in his office all day. More boxes. I wake up from a long nap. Bob's on my belly, but he isn't asleep. He's watching the ring, where 4 men are placing a large metal box. It's me-sized. What's that? I ask, from still blurry from sleep. Bob nuzzles my chin. I believe that box is for you, my friend. I'm not sure what he means, me. They brought in a bunch of boxes while you were sleeping. Looks like they're taking the whole lot of you, he says, casually licking a paw. Even Thelma. Taking, I repeat. Taking us where? Well, some sort of zoo, probably. Others to an animal shelter where humans will find them homes. Bob shakes himself. So I guess all good things must come to an end, huh? His voice is bright, but his eyes are far away and sad. I'm gonna miss your stomach, big guy. Bob shuts his eyes and makes an odd noise in his throat. But what about you? I can't tell if Bob's just pretending to sleep, but he doesn't answer. I gaze at the huge shadowy box and suddenly understand how Ruby feels. I don't want to go inside that box. The last time I was in a box, my sister died. Goodbye. When George and Julia come that night, George doesn't get his mop or broom. He gathers up his tools and his belongings while Julia runs to my cage. This is my last night, Ivan, she says, and she presses her palm to the glass. Mac fired my dad. Tears slip down her cheeks. But the zoo lady said maybe they'll have an opening there in a while, cleaning cages and stuff. I walk to the glass that separates us, and I put my hand where Julia's is, palm to palm, finger to finger. My hand is much bigger, but they're not so very different. I'm gonna miss you, Julia says, and Ruby, and Bob. But this is a good thing. Really, it is. You deserve a different life. I stare into her dark eyes, and I wish I had words for her. Sniffling, she goes to Ruby's cage. Have a good life, Ruby. Ruby makes a little rumbling sound. She puts her trunk between the bars and touches Julia's shoulder. Where is Bob, anyway? Julia asks. She looks around at her tables, at my cage, by the trash can. Dad, she calls. Have you seen Bob? Bob? Nope, George says. Julia's brow wrinkles. What's going to happen to him, Dad? What if Max shuts down the whole mall? He said he's going to try to keep it open without the animals, George says as he stuffs his hands in his pockets. I'm worried about Bob too, but he's a survivor. You know what, Dad? Julia gets a gleam in her eye. Bob could live with us. Mom loves dogs, and he could keep her company. And, Jules, I'm not even sure I have a job yet. I may not even be able to feed you, let alone some mutt. My dog walking money. Sorry, Jules. Julia nods. I understand. She starts to leave, then runs back to my cage. I almost forgot, Ivan. This is for you. She slips a piece of paper into my cage. It's a drawing of Ruby and me. We're eating yogurt raisins. Ruby is playing with another baby elephant, and I'm holding hands with a lovely gorilla. She has red lips and a flower in her hair. I look as I always do in Julia's pictures, like an elegant fellow, but something is different about this drawing. In this picture, I'm smiling. You can see Ivan smiling, holding another gorilla's hand, and Ruby in the top. Click. The door to my cage is propped open. I can't stop staring at it. My door. Open. The giant box has been moved, and it's open too. The humans have pushed it up against my doorway. If I walk through my door, I enter their box. The zoo lady, whose name is Maya, is here again. Click. Yogurt raisin. Click. Tiny marshmallow. Click. Ripe papaya. Click. Apple slice. Hour after hour, click after click. I look over at Ruby. She waits to see what I will do. I touch the box. I sniff the dark interior, where a ripe mango awaits. Click, click, click. I have to do it. Ruby's watching me from between the bars of her cage, and this box is the only way out. I step inside. An idea. After I leave the box, I step back into my cage. I get an idea, a good one. I tell Bob he could sneak into my box with me and live at the zoo. Have you forgotten? I'm a wild beast, Ivan, he says, Have you forgotten I'm a wild beast, Ivan? He says, sniffing the floor for crumbs. I am untamed, undaunted. Bob samples a piece of celery, spits it out. Besides, they'd notice. Humans are dumb, but they're not that dumb. Respect. Ivan, Ruby says, do you think the other elephants will like me? I think they'll love you, Ruby. You'll be a part of their family. Do you think the other gorillas will like you, Ruby? He asks. I'm a silverback, Ruby, a leader. I pull back my shoulders and hold my head high. They don't have to like me. They have to respect me. Even as I tell her this, I wonder if I can ever command their respect. I haven't had much practice being a real gorilla, much less a silverback. Do you think the other elephants will know any jokes? If they don't, I tell her, you can teach them. Ruby flaps her ears and flicks her tail. You know what, Ivan? What? I asked. I think I'm going into the box tomorrow. I gaze at her fondly. I think that's a good idea, and I think Stella would have agreed. Do you think the other elephants will know how to play tag? I love tag. Me too, I say. And I think of my nimble sister racing through the brush, always just out of my reach. Alright guys, that's it for today. 3 more to go, and we'll see what happens. See you next time in the classroom.